They claimed I wasn't their dad, so I took my truck, left without a word. Now their world's falling apart and they're begging me to come back. Hey everyone. Before we dive into today's video, I could really use your help. It looks like the channel is losing some steam, and subscribing is a fantastic way you can support us. It's quick, free, and it really helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means everything, so let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks a ton. Now, let's get into the video. Alright, Reddit, never thought I'd find myself typing this out, but after spending 3 hours reading about stepdads getting the short end of the stick, I figured maybe sharing my story might help some other poor guy avoid the mess I went through. Just a heads up, this is going to be long and probably full of typos since I'm running on no sleep and typing this on my phone in my truck. I'm a 41-year-old guy, been driving trucks since I was 23. Started with nothing but a CDL and a dream of owning my rig one day. Worked my butt off, lived in that truck, and saved every penny until I could buy my own Peterbilt. Things were going pretty well, I had my own route, regular customers, and was even building a decent savings. No wife, no kids, just me and my dog living the dream on the open road. I wasn't exactly rolling in it, but I had my stuff together. I owned my truck outright, had a small apartment I barely used, and enough extra cash to treat myself to a good steak dinner now and then. Not bad for a guy who grew up in a trailer park with nothing. So, here's how this whole thing started. It was 2015, and I was at PetSmart buying food for my German Shepherd, Ghost. Regular Thursday afternoon, nothing special. Ghost is this big goofball I rescued a year before. Best decision I ever made, but probably the only good one in this story, lol. So I'm there comparing dog food prices. Man, that stuff's expensive, when this kid literally runs into my legs at full speed. I mean, this little dude was on a mission. Ghost, being the gentle giant he is, just starts wagging his tail like crazy. This kid, Liam, was like 4 or 5, all energy and no brakes. You know the type. He's got this Spider-Man t-shirt that's seen better days and a toy car in his hand that he apparently thought could outrun my dog. Behind him is a woman who looked completely wiped, pushing a stroller with a baby in it. That was Mia and little Amy. Mia looked like one of those moms you see in movies who's hanging on by a thread, dark circles, messy bun, the whole 9 yards. I help Liam up, and the kid's still giggling because Ghost is giving him the world's sloppiest kisses. Mia starts apologizing like crazy, with all the "I'm so sorry, he's just hyper today" stuff, but I'm just laughing because it's the most excitement I've had all week. Being a trucker means a lot of lonely hours on the road, so random kid encounters are a welcome change of pace. Anyway, they were there because Liam was begging for a pet snake, big nope from Mia, and Amy needed to look at the fish because she wouldn't nap otherwise. We got to talking, making small talk while Liam tried convincing Ghost to be his new best friend. That's when I noticed her Marine Corps widow pin on her purse. I didn't say anything at first, but it explained a lot. Found out later her husband, James, died in Afghanistan about a year before. Real hero type, Bronze Star, the whole deal, left behind a 4-year-old who could barely remember him and a baby girl who'd never know him. Now, I'm not gonna pretend I didn't notice Mia was pretty, she was, but that wasn't what got me. It was watching her try so hard to keep it together. Like when Liam asked if the snake could sleep in Daddy's old room and her voice cracked when she said no. Or how she was counting out exact change for dog treats because money was tight. Ghost sealed the deal, really. This dog, who usually takes forever to warm up to people, let Liam climb all over him like a jungle gym. Even little Amy was giggling in her stroller as Ghost gently licked her hand. Mia joked it was the first time she'd seen Amy smile at a stranger in months. Then I did something stupid. I offered to let them walk Ghost with me around the store while we checked out pets they definitely weren't getting. Mia was firm on the no snake rule, which was a good call, honestly. Liam was thrilled, holding Ghost's leash while I was right there. And Mia seemed to relax a bit. We ended up exchanging numbers for doggy playdates, she said, half joking. But I think we both knew what was up. Now, sitting in my truck with Ghost's gray muzzle on my lap, I wonder if he knew. That dog was always smarter than me. He loved those kids right away, but whenever Mia was around, he'd get this look, not growling or anything, just watchful. Should have paid more attention to that, but you know what they say about hindsight being 20/20. You know how it is, you think your dog's got your back no matter what, but sometimes even they can't save you from your own not so great choices, right? When I first met Mia, oh man, those first few months were something else. It all kicked off with those doggy playdates we talked about. I'd take my dog, Ghost, to this quaint little park near Mia's place. Every time we'd pull up in my truck, her kid, Liam, would practically bounce out of his shoes with excitement. He thought the world of my truck, calling it a monster truck, though it was just a regular Peterbilt. Try telling that to a 4-year-old, though, he was obsessed. Here's where I kind of messed up. I started changing my trucking routes to be home more often. Any trucker would tell you that's like tossing money away, but there I was, turning down well-paying long hauls to be around for Liam's t-ball games or Amy's doctor appointments. Mia was having a tough time with money. Never outright asked for help, but the signs were there. Their apartment was freezing in winter to cut heating costs. The kids were wearing clothes that were a bit too small. I'll never forget noticing Liam's shoes held together with duct tape. I had to step in, I could not help out. I bought Liam a new pair of shoes, the kind that light up, and the kids started crying with joy. Broke my heart a little. Started bringing over extra groceries, just accidentally of course, you know? At first, Mia tried to refuse, but it's tough to say no when your kid's over the moon with his first new shoes in months. Things got serious pretty fast after that. I found myself staying over more and more. Ghost was over the moon too. He had 2 kids to play with and plenty of space to explore. I'd come back from shorter hauls, and they'd all be there waiting. Even Amy warmed up to me eventually, going from crying whenever she saw me to demanding I read her bedtime stories. One day, Liam called me dad out of nowhere. I was doing maintenance under my truck, and there he was, handing me tools. Mostly the wrong ones, but he was trying. Dropped a wrench on my finger and let out a swear. He giggled and said, "Dad, you said a bad word," like it was the most natural thing in the world. Inside, I was a whirlwind of emotions, a good kind of mess. That weekend, I went out and bought one of those corny World's Best Dad mugs. Still have it in my truck, can't bear to part with it. Mia and I tied the knot about a year after we met. The wedding was super low-key, just at the courthouse. I had a delivery that afternoon anyway, and she didn't want anything big after the spectacle of her first wedding. We got a bigger place soon after, a nice house with a yard for Ghost and the kids. Started a college fund for both of them too. Worked really hard to give them everything they needed and most of what they wanted. Funny thing, other truckers would tease me about being tied down, always rushing home for dance recitals or parent-teacher conferences. But I was proud of being there for Amy's art shows, proud that Liam wanted to learn about engines from me. Ghost was living his best life too, lazing on the couch, which Mia wasn't thrilled about, but she dealt with it. He'd follow the kids everywhere, having playdates with the neighbors' dogs. But he never quite took to Mia. No growling or anything, just kept his distance. Didn't take treats from her, wouldn't cuddle. Maybe I should have paid attention to that. Then came the teenage years. Liam hit 17 and turned into a whole different person. First sign of trouble was after a 3-day run. I'd hustled to make it back for his football game, even turned down a better paying job. Walked in the door to Ghost greeting me as usual, but then I hear Liam in the kitchen telling his friends, "Nah, my real dad was a Marine, won a Bronze Star. This guy's just my mom's husband." Ouch. That stung. Same kid who would beg me to take him to the truck yard, who'd sit in my rig for hours learning about engines. Now I was just mom's husband. And it didn't stop there. Amy, who was 14 by then, started mimicking him, eye rolls, sighs, the whole teenage repertoire. I remember asking her to clean up one of her messes. You know, being in the kitchen, you'd think I asked her to give up a kidney or something. It's always, "Why should I? You're not my real dad." That line kept popping up every time I tried to set some rules or help out, like with homework or advice. It was like they were singing their new favorite tune, "You're not my real dad." Mia just checked out, glued to her phone, always too busy. Once, I overheard her laughing with a friend about how the kids were just going through a phase, missing their real dad. But honestly, they barely remember him. It's been 8 years of me being there for everything. The worst part? I started noticing how Mia talked about me to her friends, like, "Oh, he's on the road a lot," or "he drives trucks," always like she was apologizing for me. But when she talked about James, her late husband, it was like he was a saint. James the war hero, or James would have wanted this. Even Ghost, our dog, was affected. He used to sleep with the kids every night, but now they didn't want him around because it wasn't cool when friends came over. Funny how they suddenly wanted to cuddle with him when they needed money or favors. Then, I realized I was being left out of family stuff, reunions, school events, dinners out, all planned when I was on the road. I'd see them all smiling in pictures on Mia's Facebook while I was out there working hard to support everything. One night, I finally asked Mia about it. She gave me this look like I was just a clueless truck driver who didn't get it. "They're teenagers. They need space," she said, like I wasn't busting my butt to pay for their lifestyle. It felt like everything was rotting from the inside out. On the surface, we had a lovely house, nice cars, and kids in good schools, but it was falling apart underneath. Ghost started resting his head on my lap, staring at me like he was trying to say something, but I wasn't ready to hear it. Then things got worse. My tools went missing from the garage, important ones that Liam, who used to help me with the truck, knew I needed. My truck had problems, scratches, dents, and then one morning, I found the fuel tank cap unscrewed completely. After that, I set up a security camera and caught Liam messing with my truck at 2 a.m. when I showed Mia. She just said, maybe if you were home more, he wouldn't act out. That's when I started keeping receipts for every little thing. My lawyer later said that was a smart move. And then, Amy, my little girl, started dating this college guy, Tim or Tom or something, a real trust fund kid with a fancy BMW. I noticed she wasn't wearing the necklace I got her for her 16th birthday anymore. She said it was embarrassing because it came from a truck stop. It was actually from Tiffany's, paid for with 2 months of overtime. One night, I overheard Amy and Mia chatting in the kitchen. Amy was excited about a fancy Christmas party at Tom's place and asked what she should say about me. My ears perked up, hoping she was worried about explaining her stepdad's job. Nope. Mia just said, tell them your father was a Marine who died serving his country, while I was right there in the living room with Ghost. Ghost growled for the first time ever at family, and Mia tried to laugh it off as him being moody. But it wasn't Ghost being moody, he just knew. Oh man, I finally stopped pretending, just like me, that things were fine. The last straw? Finding out they had an entire Thanksgiving dinner while I was out running. Not just them, but Mia's whole family, some of the kids' friends, even a few neighbors were there. I saw the photos on Facebook, right in my backyard, using my grill, which I hadn't been able to use for months because Amy's allergies couldn't handle the smoke. They acted like one big happy family. The kicker? The caption said, so thankful for family, missing James extra hard today. Meanwhile, I was out driving through a snowstorm delivering emergency supplies, missing my family while they were playing house and pretending I didn't exist. That night, I had enough. I slept in my truck with Ghost. Didn't even bother going inside when I got back. I started making plans, called up my buddy Rich, who's a lawyer, began gathering documents, took screenshots of everything. But I still wasn't ready to pull the trigger. I thought maybe there was still something worth saving. What a fool I was. But you know what's funny about life? Just when you think things can't get worse, the universe ups the ante. That day started normally enough. I was finishing up a long haul from California, excited to surprise Amy for her 21st birthday. Little did I know I was the one in for a surprise. I was pushing through because, despite everything, I still wanted to be there. I had this whole surprise planned out, a Tiffany bracelet I'd been saving up for months to buy her. I got home early for once, around 6 p.m., and the sun was still up. I saw all these expensive cars parked around the house, BMWs, Mercedes, so I figured Mia must be hosting one of her fancy parties she never invited me to. Ghost starts acting weird the minute we pull up. Normally he's excited to be home, but this time he's tense. I should have listened to him right then and there. I head around back to where all the noise is coming from, and there it is, a full-blown party with catering, fancy dresses, the whole shebang. And right in the middle is Amy, holding hands with trust fund Tom. It's an engagement party they never told me about. But here's what really got me. I'm standing there with the gift box in my hand, and I hear this old lady, Tom's grandmother I found out later, asking about Amy's family. Oh, what does your father do, dear? Now, I'm thinking that maybe, just maybe, after all these years, Amy might acknowledge me. Even my stepdad's a truck driver would have been something. But Amy, wearing this designer dress that I know Mia couldn't afford, looks this old lady right in the eye and says, my father was a Marine. He died in Afghanistan when I was a baby. He was a hero. Mia is standing right there, nodding proudly. Then she adds, James would be so proud of the woman Amy's become. He always wanted her to marry well. Marry well? Like being a working man who provided for his family for 15 years wasn't good enough? Then Tom's dad starts talking about the wedding plans, big church wedding, country club reception, all that fancy stuff. Then he mentions something about father of the bride traditions. Amy doesn't even hesitate. Oh, my Uncle Steve, Mia's brother, will stand in for my dad. He was my dad's best friend in the Marines. Steve, who I've literally never seen contribute a damn thing to Amy's life except showing up drunk for Christmas and telling war stories about James. I must have made some sort of noise because Ghost lets out this low whine. That's when they finally notice me standing there. The look on Amy's face, not shame, not guilt, just annoyance, like I'd ruined her perfect moment by just existing. Mia tries to play it off, "Oh Jacob, you're home early. We were just." But I'm not listening anymore. I'm looking at my house, my backyard, this party being funded by my money. Later found out Mia used my credit card for the catering. Celebrating my daughter's engagement, and I'm not even supposed to exist. The bracelet box feels like it weighs a ton in my hand. Ghost is pressed against my leg, trying to comfort and protect me at the same time. Tom's mom, trying to be polite I guess, asks who I am. But before anyone can answer, I just turn around and walk away, get in my truck, and Ghost jumps in. We leave. Spent the night at a truck stop about 50 miles away, just sitting there with Ghost, both of us staring at nothing. That night I called Rich, my lawyer buddy, and told him it's time. He just said, "Finally. I've had the papers ready for months." Honestly, after that engagement party, something in me just broke, or maybe fixed itself, depending on how you look at it. I spent that whole night in my truck with Ghost, going through old photos on my phone, pictures of Liam's first baseball game, Amy's dance recital, all that family stuff I thought we had. Here's something most people don't get about trucking: it's not just some dude driving a big rig down the highway. It's a business, contracts, accounts, assets, the whole 9 yards. And while Mia and the kids were busy looking down their noses at me, man, running the simple trucker was like being a boss, you know? Everything was under my name, the house they lived in, the cars they drove, even the credit cards Mia used for that fancy engagement party, all mine. The utilities were in my company's name, thanks to some tax setup Rich did ages ago. But I played it cool, kept on trucking, paying the bills, acting like all was good. I even sat through a dinner where Amy and Mia chatted about wedding places that cost more than my first rig, just nodding along like the clueless trucker they thought I was. Meanwhile, Rich and I were knee-deep in their mess, bank statements, property titles, credit bills, finding all sorts of goodies. Like, Mia was writing checks to her brother Steve from my business account, and Liam was using my card to buy car parts that ended up on his buddy's ride. The kicker? Mia didn't sign a prenup and thought keeping her last name meant independence. Joke's on her, she had no legal claim on my stuff. Rich had a good laugh over that. What really gets me is how they acted like I was the villain in all this. Liam kept messing with my truck, caught him trying to sugar the gas tank on camera. Amy was playing the poor fatherless bride card to Tom's family, and Mia wouldn't stop trash-talking me to anyone who'd listen, claiming her first husband was some hero. One night, I was in my study doing paperwork, running my own fleet now, got 2 other drivers working for me, when I overheard them laughing in the kitchen. Mia says, "Well, at least the wedding will be paid for. It's not like he knows how to hide money, he's just a trucker." Ghost, my dog, looks at me like, "You hearing this, Dad?" I just patted his head and went on working with Rich on transferring things. They had no clue I'd been moving money around legally for months, setting up new accounts, canceling old cards, creating new ones, and even starting a new LLC for my expanding fleet. Everything was ready, and one day I took Ghost for a long walk to clear my head about what I was going to do. This wasn't just about revenge, it was about reclaiming what was mine, my dignity, my self-respect, my life. What really pushed me was seeing Amy showing her ring to her friends, bragging about having a real family after marrying Tom. That night, I made one last call to Rich, time to put our plan into action. Patience is a virtue, they say, and I was like a predator in one of those nature shows, biding my time until the perfect moment. That Tuesday morning, I told Mia I was going on a 3-day run. She probably thought I was just off earning more cash for Amy's wedding. Liam was likely plotting his next move on my truck. Little did they know, I was just an hour away at my buddy's yard, watching everything unfold via security cameras I'd set up. Rich timed it perfectly. The courier arrived while Mia was having her coffee, with 3 thick envelopes in hand. Her face said it all when she opened the first: divorce papers. And not just any divorce papers, these babies had it all: footage of Liam vandalizing my truck, bank statements of Mia using my business account as her piggy bank, screenshots of Amy badmouthing me while flaunting the designer stuff I paid for. Everything was documented and notarized. Then came the eviction notice. Mia always acted so independent, never taking my last name, but also never bothering to check if her name was on the house deed. Funny how that works out. And the cherry on top? That third envelope, her realizing every credit card was canceled, every joint account closed, every asset transferred. All by the book, all gone. It was like watching someone realize they'd been played with a marked deck and lost it all. The meltdown was epic. Mia's calls were a screamfest about the wedding, the house, how I couldn't do this to them. Liam tried to get tough over the credit cards, like he had any right after what he did to my truck. And Amy? All tears about her big day being ruined, worried Tom's family would think less of them. Not a single word about the years I spent being her dad, no apologies. Mia tried running to her fancy lawyer friends, but... So, here's the scoop. Turns out, those folks weren't so friendly once they figured out their client didn't have a legal leg to stand on. No shared accounts, no joint property, and not even a claim on that fancy furniture she loved showing off, all of it bought with business money, all mine. Then Mia's brother, Steve, tries to play the tough guy, remember him? He was the stand-in dad for Amy's wedding. Well, he wasn't so tough when my lawyer hit him with a cease and desist and a restraining order. Turns out, threatening someone who keeps receipts is a bad idea. By evening, Mia was crying to anyone who'd listen, Amy was acting like a victim on social media, and Liam was still making threats about my truck. Thanks for the evidence, buddy. But here's the kicker, I made sure everyone knew what was up. Rich helped me put together a nice information package for all their hoity-toity friends and Tom's family. It had everything, the vandalism, the theft, the lies about being a grieving military family living off my work. I even included some choice recordings of them mocking my job. Tom's fancy pants family wasn't too thrilled about their future in-laws being grifters. That big country club wedding got cancelled real quick. Over the next few days, I got hundreds of messages, threats, begging, guilt trips, you name it. Didn't answer a single one. Just sat in my truck with Ghost, watching karma play out on my phone screen. A week later, I drove by the house and saw moving trucks in the driveway. Reality finally hit, I guess. Now I'm sitting here by the lake where Ghost and I used to take the kids fishing. Ghost is sprawled out in the grass next to my chair, probably dreaming about chasing rabbits or stealing my breakfast sandwich like he did this morning. It's been a year since all that went down, and I still can't believe how much has changed. Funny thing about hitting rock bottom, once you start climbing back up, you realize maybe you needed the fall to appreciate the view. Take my business, for example. Remember those 2 drivers I mentioned? Now there's 6 of us, all running solid routes, and all trucks are paid for. Amazing what you can do with your money when it's not being drained by people who see you as an ATM. Had to let go of the old house, though, too many ghosts, and I don't mean the 4-legged kind. Found a smaller place near my truck yard instead. It's got a big fenced yard where Ghost can run and a garage where I can work on my trucks in peace. Most importantly, no drama through the door every night. People keep asking about them, Mia, Amy, and Liam, because everyone loves a good train wreck, right? Mia ended up moving in with her hero brother Steve. Funny how his heroic spirit vanished when she actually needed help. Last I heard, she's answering phones at some dental office. Turns out, I wasn't such a bad provider after all. Liam's working at his uncle's tire shop now. College didn't seem so appealing once Daddy's money stopped flowing. Kind of ironic that the kid who thought manual labor was beneath him is now changing tires for a living. Life's got a sense of humor. And Amy? That fairy tale wedding crashed and burned. Trust fund Tom's family had concerns about their precious son marrying into a family with, as they put it, questionable values. They offered to pay for a smaller ceremony, but Princess wasn't having it. Now she's waiting tables at some chain restaurant, living back with Mia. That Tiffany bracelet I bought for her birthday? Sold it and got Ghost an orthopedic bed instead. Best trade ever. The messages still come sometimes. Mia's essays on how I destroyed the family go right into Rich's evidence folder. Amy tried the I miss you, Dad routine on my birthday. Funny how that word only matters when they need something. Liam? Radio silence. Good. You know what's weird, though? I don't feel anything for them anymore. No hate, no love, just nothing. But life keeps rolling. The fleet's growing, and I've got good people working with me who actually respect what we do. Got a date next weekend, too. She owns a diner on one of my regular routes, and get this, she actually thinks what I do is something to be proud of. Ghost has already approved, and that's all the review I need. After everything, I've realized something important. Being a provider doesn't make you a father, and being a father doesn't mean being a doormat. Sometimes the family you're building is just a house of cards. And sometimes, the only family you need is the one lying at your feet all along. Ghost just dropped his ball in my lap for the 100th time, giving me that look that says, enough with the heavy stuff, Dad, let's play. I think I'll take his advice. After all, he's been right about everything else. Oh, and Ghost says thanks for all the love. He's currently snoring in his fancy new bed, living his best life. To everyone fighting their own battles, it gets better. Keep your dignity, document everything, and never let anyone shame you for honest work. Ghost and I have an early route tomorrow, so we're signing off. Remember, Sometimes losing a fake family is worth finding yourself.